Some tests are easy to write, but when the output gets messy with complex data, nested objects, and subtle formatting, it's hard to write tests that keep up. And that's where approvals tests shine. If you've ever struggled to write unit tests and thought, there's got to be a better way to verify this, there is. Test-driven development is powerful, but many developers find it cumbersome. In this video, I'll share with you a fix to that with a testing library called Approvals. And I've arranged for the author of approval tests to give us a demo. Hello world, I'm David Scott Bernstein and welcome to The Passionate Programmer. In this video, I want to share a tool that I've used for years and absolutely love, especially when I'm testing dynamic or data-rich content like our prompt manager. It's called Approvals Tests, and no, this is not a sponsored video. But, full disclosure, the creator of this tool, Llewellyn Falco, is a good friend. However, I'm not biased because we're friends. I'm biased because I've seen how often TDD goes wrong for people, and how often approvals tests makes it better. I'm a huge fan of test-first development, and this is a tool that reinforces the core concepts of TDD without some of the extra work. So I love it. Let's dive in with Llewellyn Falco as he gives us an introduction to this library.
Hey, I'm Llewellyn Falco. I'm the creator of Approval Tests. I'm just here doing a very quick little demonstration about why you might want to take a look as approval test when you're doing unit testing. So approval test is in a lot of languages. We are going to take a look at the Python version. And in fact, we're going straight into the Python starter project, which is just set up using talks and requirements file and grabs it directly from PyPy, which is pretty standard for a lot of approval tests. And I have a project here, and I'm doing a small variation on FizzBuzz. So normally FizzBuzz is you give it a number and it gives you a result. We're going to do just a little bit more than that. We're going to do FizzBuzz with metadata. So you can see here I have a print line, and when I run this, I can see I passed in 30 for my input. I got the result of FizzBuzz, and it tells me that this number was divisible by both 3 and 5. Right? And so I'm getting back this object, and that gets to the first place where we start to look at why approval test is helpful. So the piece to pay attention to here is that tests always have inputs and they have outputs. Right? Take some inputs, you put them through some kind of process, they give you an output. And if that output is just a straight number or something, approval test is not the thing you usually want to use. Usually that's going to be just a simple assert. And approval test is not a framework, it's a library. So you don't have to choose whether to use it or your existing testing framework. You can use both. Right? Now, the question here is, what do I want to test? Right? In the output, I'm getting all these results. Is the important thing that I got FizzBuzz? Is the important thing that it remembered that I passed in 30? Or is the important thing that it is divisible by 3 and 5? And I could see a lot of unit testers being like, well, really what's important is the results or the divisible by. That's what I'm going to write the test for. Or I could see unit testers who are like, all those things are important. I'm going to write 3 different tests. One test that does the inputs, one test that does the results, or one test that does the divisible by. I can even see unit testers that say, all those are important. I don't really want to write all the tests. So I'm just going to write a whole bunch of asserts in my test. And it's not that any of these are invalid. It's just simpler to be able to say what I care about is the output. So I'm going to rewrite this test to say, hey, this FizzBuzz 30, this is really the output of what I'm getting. Let me extract that as a variable. We'll call it output. And I want to do the whole output. So I'm going to use a verify. And right now I'm going to say verify the output. Let's see what happens when I run that. So what I get is this output, just the same as if I had printed it. And it has all the information in there. And over here on the left-hand side, I have the approved file, which is empty at this moment because I haven't approved anything. Right? And all I have to do if I want to get this to pass is move that over. So I'm going to move that over. I'm going to save it. Now I have an approved file. When I run this again, it works. So now I don't have to choose what pieces or what spots I want to do. And in fact, when I'm trying to figure out specific parts, there's a skill of figuring out how do I test something so that I'm only highlighting that one piece I want to see, right? But that's like an unnecessary skill if I can just approve the whole output. But that output is still a little bit fuzzy. So we started by looking at the outputs. Let's look at this transformation, right? At the moment, what that transformation does is just call FizzBuzz. But it'd be nice if it made it pretty for me. So I'm going to do a verify as JSON, because one of the things that approval lets you do is say, hey, there's this pattern of things I tend to do when I'm doing this stuff. Let's just do that for me. Now this one is out of the box. It just comes in approvals. But you will see that most of the time I make quite a lot of custom verifies, because for your context in your project, you're going to have a pattern you tend to do that says these inputs are going to do these results in a way that are nice for me to see. When I do this, you'll notice I still get the output, but a couple of things have changed. One, this is nicely formatted. The other thing is you'll notice the text file that used to be approved.txt is now approved.json. That's why it's empty at the moment. Right? And that allows me to get a much easier to read, easier to consume thing for me. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to save it. And the advantage of this is now that it's easy to change, if I was to change, just say from 30 to 60 and run it again, notice it takes me right to the place where something is different. Right? So when you're verifying things that are a little bit longer and more complicated, it's nice to have tools like these diff viewers that automatically pop up and tell you exactly what's going different. Right? That helps me to make that decision. Is that a change I actually wanted? Maybe it is. Maybe I want to change this to 60. Or did I accidentally hit something on my keyboard and I want it to go back to the way it was? Both are valid answers. Okay, so now we've handled the outputs. We've handled that transformation, made it a little bit nicer. What about the inputs? Well, it'd be nice to test more numbers. And so here, I have this question of like, what numbers should I check? One thing I could do is I could just make a lot of different tests. You'll see something like this a lot of times where people will just sort of duplicate a bunch of tests and be like, oh, okay, let's do FizzBuzz 3, FizzBuzz 5. Right? But that just feels really messy to me. What I can do instead is I can do a verify all. Right? So instead of verify as JSON, I'm going to do a verify all. For that, I need some sort of title. So I'm going to say FizzBuzz. And then I need some sort of inputs. We'll talk about those in a second. And then I need a transformation thing. So here I'm going to say print FizzBuzz. And what is print FizzBuzz? Well, let's define it up here. So def print FizzBuzz. I'm going to do the FizzBuzz here, but I want to return that as some nice JSON. So let's do JSON dot. We'll do verify as JSON. And I'm going to go into that. What does that actually do? Deserializes the fields. Utilities to JSON. This is the key part that I want here. Utilities to JSON of this output. Let's import that. All right, and now, so now I have this thing that will give me inputs, and now I need something that is inputs. So yeah, you can already see, like, I think Copilot here is saying, oh, you could do 1, you could do 3, you could do 5. Well, let's do something like that and see what it looks like. Okay, so the first thing you're going to see here is, like, I got a lot more information now, right? I got this divisible by for 30. I got this divisible by still for 30. Oh, looks like I messed up my test. Really, instead of just doing 30 all the time, I'd like to use the output that was put in there. So let's do that. Okay, so now I'm starting to see, like, some answers here. And these are good. Like, I like this. But have I tested everything I need to? Maybe. Maybe those are the important cases. But maybe I'm lazier. So instead of just saying, like, here, I'm just going to say range. Let's do 1 to 100. And here you'll see I get all the numbers in here. So I can check, hey, did any of these throw an exception? Did any of these do something weird? Right? And more importantly, if any of these ever change, I want to know about them. And so here I am with just a few lines of code, being able to test all my inputs and all my outputs and all my transformations.
Wow.
Inputs get transformed into outputs. Those are the essence of testing, and approval test helps you on all three. Thanks for taking this tour with me.
Thanks again, Llewellyn, for walking us through approvals. I hope you can see why I rely on approvals tests, especially when I'm working with output that's complex, formatted, or constantly changing. You'll see this tool show up in future videos as we build out our prompt manager and other AI-driven tools together. If you want to learn more or try it for yourself, head over to approvalstests.com and download it. The link is in the description. And if you already use approvals tests or just gave it a try for the first time, let me know in the comments how it worked for you. Until next time, write better prompts, write better tests, and keep building systems that you love. Happy coding.